Hey guys, is everybody ready to rock and roll today? If you are brand new here, I'm Shaina. This is my channel where I spread all the joy. No, I do that, but I teach valuable lessons that we were never taught growing up so that you can now, as an adult, create a life you are proud of. I was just talking to Nathan the other day about this epiphany I had. I'm not sure I'd go that far, but it was a realization. Anyway, I said to him, I said the best thing, in my opinion, about this work and these tools is that it offers me and you the capacity to feel good in the present, being in love with your current life, and at the same time, being excited about the future and who you are becoming. Like what? There's no better joy than that. Again, in my opinion, there's no better joy than actively creating and loving what is and looking forward to the future. So good. With that being said, let's talk about fear-based action versus inspired action. Here's the simple breakdown. Fear-based action is when the action we take is driven by low-quality thoughts and negative emotion. Inspired action is when the action we take is driven by high-quality thoughts and positive emotion. For example, if I think I'm not good enough, people won't want to work with me, and then I go out into the world and market myself, that is fear-based action. Alternatively, if I think I am a leader in this industry and people are literally waiting to work with me, and then I go out into the world and market myself, that is inspired action. Fear-based action creates less than desirable results. Inspired action creates desired results. I really want you guys to think about this and understand this concept at least intellectually right now, because so many of us, you guys, are so resistant to the power of our thoughts and feelings and the effect that they have on our actions and our results. Okay, so I'll work with the example I just gave. If I go out and I market myself thinking I'm not good enough, I'm not sure I'm good enough, people may not want to work with me, I'm not sure there are people that want to work with me, that lack of belief and low quality thinking and doubt is going to show up in my copy, in how I speak to potential customers, how I make offers, how I follow up with people, all the action stuff. Okay? Alternatively, if I go out and I market myself thinking I am a leader in my industry and people are literally waiting to work with me, that level of belief and certainty is going to show up in my copy, in how I speak to potential customers, how I make offers, how I follow up with people, all the action stuff. Our thoughts and feelings have so much impact, you guys. If you job search when you think there's nothing out there, I will never find something I enjoy, you will be driven to choose anything that comes up. That's the action, right? Because you already believe nothing's out there and it's impossible to find something that you like. If you go to write that book when you think, what's the point? This is never going to work anyway, you will be driven to loathe the experience and your work will reflect that. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, isn't it better to be taking action, even if it's from fear, than taking no action at all? For some of my clients, yes. For some people, shout out to all my dreamers out there who use waiting to feel inspired to take action as a form of procrastination, then yes, those people need to just take some action, any kind of action, to build belief in themselves that they can take action. Taking action is a form of building belief. It's a big part of the process. So yes, for some people, taking action is their opportunity for growth, but you still need to build enough belief in your mind to actually go take the action, right? For others, all my doers out there, their opportunity for growth is usually to stop taking action altogether and just build belief in their mind because they're busy taking action in an attempt to prove their worth. And that's fear-based action, and that never works. We must connect to our sense of worth first and then act. So I don't want to get too much in the weeds of it, but it just really depends on who I'm working with. Also, does that mean I'm always inspired when I'm taking action, like in my business? Of course not. Like sometimes there is hustle involved. But again, that's where a coach can help gauge where you're at and identify exactly what needs adjusting to get the results you want. Okay, switching gears here. Here's the misconception about action. The misconception is that it's our action that creates our results, which is why so many of us are so gung-ho about what to do and how to do it. It's the reason why so many of us just try to take a bunch of action to achieve the results we want. Job search incessantly, bang out content after content, try this, try that, burn out, stress out. And then we come up short and we're like, I don't get it. What's happening here? What's happening is it's not our action that creates our results. How much action we take is not equivalent to how many results we get. It's our thoughts and our feelings that create our results. It's the quality of our thoughts and feelings, not the quantity of our action. Is the action part of the equation? Of course. But, it is a much smaller part than a lot of us think it is. The action we take is simply the receiving of the results we want, not the creation. Let me repeat that. The action we take is simply the receiving of the results we want, not the creation. Here's what I mean by that. I used to be in sales, and a part of that sales job was cold calling potential customers, picking up the phone and trying to get the decision maker on the other end to meet with me about buying radio ads. I think I was required to make something like, 30 cold calls a day. So let's say that on Monday, I make 30 calls and I get one yes. I scheduled one meeting. Now, most of us look at that with our logical, analytical brains and think, okay, so your action was making 30 calls. That is what got you the one yes, right? It's tangible evidence. 30 phone calls. But it wasn't the action, you guys. It was the way in which I got onto each and every one of those calls. It's how I spoke, the words I used, the energy I brought forth, the questions I asked. And all of that, my energy, my word choice, etc., is determined by how I think and feel about my ability to successfully make cold calls, how I think and feel about what I'm selling, and how I think and feel about the decision makers on the other end saying yes, right? It's the reason, you guys, that my coworker Judy can make 30 phone calls to the exact same people, yet she gets 4 yeses. If it were the action, the 30 phone calls, then we'd both come up with the same result every single time. But we don't. Because I have thoughts like, I hate cold calling. I'm not good at this. People are bothered by me and just want to get off the phone. Those were actually probably my thoughts back then. And Judy is thinking, I love meeting new people. I'm so easy to talk to. I freaking love radio. This is the best job ever. And so I get on the phone and I'm like, hi, I'm so sorry to bother you. I know you probably get calls like this all of the time. Listen, no pressure, but I work for a radio company and I was wondering if maybe you'd be interested in meeting with me to discuss radio ads for your business. Right? You can hear my dread, my unenthusiasm, my lack of certainty in them saying yes. It's a very scripted way of going about it, right? And then Judy gets on the phone and is like, hey, Bob, listen, I heard you're the guy in charge. I only need 30 seconds of your time, and I promise you, Bob, that this is going to be the best phone call you'll hear all year. And then Judy gives her spiel. Guys, that is the difference. It is not our action that creates our results. It is our thoughts and our feelings that create our results. The action is simply the receiving of those results. It's easier to measure action because, again, it's tangible. It's easier for our logical brains to understand. Okay? Like if I'm a coach and I 100% believe in my craft and what I do and how I help people, and let's say I'm at a party and I meet someone and they ask me, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a coach. I help CEOs manage their teams more effectively so that they can grow sales faster. And the other guy's like, really? I have a friend of mine who's a CEO of a startup and I know he could use somebody like you. And then we know how that goes, right? Like the rest is history. Now, a situation like that, where I'm just at a party, showing up, conversing from a place of certainty in what I do, can easily be chalked up to luck, right? You got so lucky. What a coincidence that you met that person who knew someone. But it's not luck. It was me talking about who I am and what I do from 100% belief. If that same guy said to me, what do you do? And I think in my mind, I'm not a good enough coach and I feel insecure about what I do, that conversation would have gone a different way and would have created a different result. Make sense? A lot of people will ask me, well, how do I know if I'm operating from inspired action versus fear-based action? And my response is like, just look inside your brain and the thoughts that are driving your action. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you taking that action? Why are you showing up the way that you are? Inspired action, you guys, feels clean and expansive. It's clear. It's simple. It's like you're swimming downstream with the current. Whereas fear-based action feels graspy and tense. It's confusing. It's like you're swimming upstream without a paddle. So you want to notice which one you're leading with, whether you're job searching, dating, working on a project or toward a goal, marketing yourself, whatever. If you're running on fear, the solution is not to take more action. The solution is not to keep changing your action. The solution is to change the thoughts and feelings that are driving your action, or for some, your inaction. Literally on one of my banners on my website, it says, fear does not create a life you love. I should probably copyright that phrase. All right, that is it for today, my friends. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, the application and link to apply is under this video. Open enrollment is happening right now. Everything we're talking about here is what I help you conquer now and forever, literally. Like once you have these tools and you put them into practice, you have them literally for life. For life. So if you are ready to go all in on you and your quality of life, truly, the link is down below. I love you all. See you next week.